How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to Partlane Podcast, episode number 50, on a weekend where football is finally back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We are finally back for another episode of this great show. And I'm joined, as always, by my good co-hosts. So we've got Harry on first. Harry, how you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. It's great to be here once again. We are back, baby. And we are in for an interesting ride this season. Watch out, because Tottenham are back. I know I say it a lot, but wow, that win was good. Wow, the performance was good. And what I will say is, where's all the Vicario haters? I can't find any of them. I can't find Mark Goldbridge. I can't find Gary Neville. I can't find Roy Keane. I honestly can't put a finger on why. But no, great win and good to be here.
Amazing. And we're also joined by Kallum. Kallum, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. I've shown my head up for tonight just to get it nice and Daniel Levy-esque, because I will not be spending any money by the end of the window. Let's put it that way.
And if anybody wonders why we're late, you can thank Kallum for that. So anyway, glad to have you all. You're here and you're all in the chat. Make sure you get your comments in the comments section. We will read out as many as we can. Make sure you're subscribing if you're new to the channel, and make sure you're giving the video a like as well. If you are on any podcast platform listening in the future, then make sure you give us a 5-star review and listen all the way through. It's a good show. Shout out to a few people in the chat. So we've got Adrian saying good evening all. We've got Jazz Joe and Vicario naysayers here is wiping egg off his face. So there's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of people. Oh, Wynnie's in the chat. Wynnie said, yes, boys. And again, a good evening. Evening all from Barney. Just love from everybody. That's what we like to bloody see, people. Anyway, let's crack straight into this bad boy. Because, for those of you that watch the show regularly, last week we had a little score prediction, which we're going to do every week now on this show. And, I'm going to say out of the 5 hosts that we have on this channel, four of them didn't think Spurs would beat United. And one of them did. I'm going to let you all decide who that one person was. But spoiler alert, it was me. So anyway.
Do you want to blow smoke up your arse anymore, mate, at all?
Oh, mate, I've got so much planned.
Oh, mate.
Ange,
don't worry.
I got
Harry. Do you want to co-host on your pod? Because this is getting ridiculous now. This is getting ridiculous.
You got to have a bit of confidence in this life. Anyway, so Kallum, coming to you, as you like to talk a lot.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Give me a little overview on yesterday's game.
Wow.
I think a very professional performance from a very young team. I think they did themselves credit yesterday. There was probably the first half an hour, I would say, was a little bit shaky from them, but they had to kind of find their feet. But I don't know what Ange said to them in half time, but literally must have just gone, look, just play your game, enjoy yourselves, and go out there and do your job. Because, to actually have all the Man United pundits and all the Man United players going mental, saying we deserve nothing, well, it means that we actually did deserve something because they lost. Simple as that. I think it was just a professional performance, mate. It was great to follow it up on a good showing at Brentford as well. And I think we just continued the momentum going.
Yeah, 100%. And Harry, one of the things that, I've been big on Big Ange for a long time, but one of the things that I have said is that, you need to give this man time, because it's not going to be win after win after win. His sides take time, especially when he's come in, realistically quite late into this job, because, he was in the Scottish Cup final and then he came in and then we went straight into pre-season and so on. But, to play Man United second game in, and I think we did a long time ago, a kind of how many points do you think we're going to get in the opening 3 games? And I'm pretty sure you said something like 1, but I can't remember exactly. But it was something along those lines.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah.
Just kind of give us your thoughts on the game in general. We will touch, kind of all the talking points. But give us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, listen, I was really, really impressed. Kallum used a perfect word in professional performance, and it was. Listen, credit to the players for adapting to Angie's system in such a short period of time. We haven't played this football in, 4 or 5 years. This is the best performance I've seen. Okay, Winnie's just said it. Best performance I've seen, I was going to say, since the days of Pochettino, for sure. All of a sudden, the togetherness within the club, within the fans, within the players, and I just love it how quickly Ange just turned the fans. I love the idea of Son with his huddle away to Brentford, going over to the fan. Honestly, it's a great place. It just changed. Who would have thought we'd said this 2-3 months ago? So credit to Ange for once again proving the doubters wrong so far. He's done exactly the same at Celtic. And deep down, I always hope it would work, regardless of looking at the obvious, at the time when you're against the appointment. So I'm so glad. And listen, Luke, I'm sure you can relate to this. Every Spurs manager I've wanted to succeed at Tottenham, but Ange Postecoglou is just that little bit more, yeah, fair enough. Luke was spot on. I hate to say it, the attitude that Ange shows, the way he comes across, great guy, great with the media. I love the way he handles the Harry Kane situation, puts the club before the player. Everything he's done has impressed me. Honestly, he's just a pleasure to watch. I love listening to him. Honestly, and that performance was great. We deserved that. We rattled pretty much the football world with that result. We rattled everyone around United. They didn't see that coming. It's great to see because we're back, and we're back quicker than people thought. And we've gone from last season to having, for me, one of the worst defensive midfield to up there with the very best in both departments, especially in the midfield. Bring it on. Honestly, I'm so happy.
Amazing. Go through some of the comments that David Clark has said. Spurs fans said put Sarr out on loan. Basuma isn't worth 25 million. Really listen to a wise man. These two are world class.
Yeah, true.
Terry Jacob has said Poch, not magic no more. Well, as the new song goes, you can have your Pochettinos, your Contes and Mourinho's. I'm loving Big Ange instead.
Absolutely.
What else we got here? Just much love. Wynnie saying Harry Kane, never heard of him. And David Clark has said Son is struggling in this system.
Yeah.
I'll kind of jump on that real quickly. I think what you'll see in this system is you won't see the wingers flourishing in terms of goals, because how it works is the wingers will play extremely wide. So what you've got from there is then runners will come in from deep, such as Sarr, such as Maddison, and so on. So you may not see Son scoring as many goals. But we did also see towards the end of the game, which we'll touch on, is Ange's tweaks in the system where, Son may also play through the middle as well. So
yeah, I didn't like that though.
I'll jump onto all these points. So let's get into it first of all. So first half, Kallum, we were pretty slow, weren't we? We were pretty lackluster. The inverted fullbacks. I heard Gary Neville talk about it, and he's spot on. I don't like when they go inverted in defensive positions. It makes literally no sense to play out from the back and play with an inverted fullback in a defensive position. Like when you're attacking, of course, over the halfway line, invert as much as you like. But, that was somewhere that we really struggled first half, wasn't it, yesterday?
Yeah, I think definitely it created a lack of continuity in there. So I think we were saying about it on the group chat during the game that there was a lot of sluggish passing. There wasn't any transitions going forward. And like you said, with the inverting, it was very much, we were sitting very deep and there was nothing going from our defence into the midfield to start with. And it was then dragging the midfield deeper and it was then isolating us up top. So I think that invited unnecessary pressure, which within the first half an hour, you probably would have said that United could have been 1-0 up if they'd taken their chances with I think it was the Rabona. I know that Fernandes was offside when he played that into the box for, I think it was Rashford to try and score. But if he was onside, that's pressure that we've invited unnecessarily. So I think it was a slow start, but as we grew into the game, we started pushing United back into their half, but it was too slow, and there wasn't any pressure from us to get United going and all that. We was inviting too much from them, I think, to start off with, and it was down to our passing. It wasn't quick enough. It wasn't fluid. It was a lot of backwards passing as well between the defence and the goal. Yeah. It wasn't comfortable to watch, I have to admit, from the start.
Yeah, definitely. Jazz Jones has said first 35 minutes was shaky, but I put that down to the young age of the players. We took over after they grew in confidence. Like, Harry, that's the problem, isn't it? Like, I'm all for passing out the back.
Yeah.
But when a team is pressing you high, and then there's balls to Mickey van der Ven, who then tries to twist and turn and, lost the ball a couple of times. And then he's playing it back to Vicario, who's playing it back to him, who's playing it back to Romero, who's then trying to pass it infield to Porro, who's on the half turn, losing the ball. Like, there was a problem in that first half. And you know what? I'm going to say we were lucky not to go one down in the first half. But, we stuck at it. And Ange must have said something at half time. Like, I know he does allow the players to have the dressing room kind of as their own, and he doesn't really like to interfere too much. Obviously, at half time, he's going to be going in there and team talks or whatever, tactical analysis, whatever needs to be done. But something must have been said, and it worked.
Yeah, whatever he said clearly worked. In the second half, we looked so much better. I wouldn't say we were dreadful in the first half, but United probably deserved to be 1-0 up if they'd taken their chances. Whatever he said worked. We moved the ball quicker, I thought. Just a lot more effective, created loads more. And just generally looked really, really good. Once again, I'm in the same situation against Brentford, where the team looked really good, the togetherness, the spirit, but also individuals shone. Once again, Sarr, the energy he brought, credit to Postecoglou, one of the two changes he made, bringing him in for Sarr. He brought so much energy, got the goal, obviously. Second goal, little bit of luck, but you need that. The best teams, you asked the Manchester Cities who won the treble last season, they didn't win it without that little bit of luck on the way. Luck is involved in quite a bit in football. He came there as part of the goal, but still win the back of the net, and that's all that matters. We were far the better team over the full 90 or more than that, if you with the new regulations. We were definitely the better team. United weren't at their best, and Ten Hag has got problems to work out. United, there's problems there for sure, but United don't look dreadful. I think it's just that we looked really, really good and really stepped it up in the second half and played like a team that's almost sending out a statement to everyone else. Because we've been written off for this season. We've been written off for Europe already. For us, it's about, people already said it's just improve. I said it, improve on last season. That's 8th, 7th place, whatever that is, I'll take it. It's improvement. But I think we're ready quicker than people think. People say maybe 4 years' time. I think it's sooner than people think. And that was a statement win. Same time, you mustn't get carried away. Early on in the season, there's a possibility that teams may have a better idea of how to cope against Ange's style of football. Injuries could come into it. But generally, as a whole, there's so much positivity around the squad, and it's a great place to be as a club right now.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen, top content creators on this platform, spouting nonsense for clicks, about us finishing 9th, 10th, all of the other stuff. It's just not going to happen. Look, we're not winning the league. I'm not going that far. But, people need to realize that these performances will only get better. Okay? We will concede goals. And we don't need to, throw our toys out of the pram when that does happen. But let's talk a little bit about Sarr's opening goal, because, let me jump onto one of the comments really quickly. Here, Jazz Jones said the elephant in the room, though, is our forward line. 4 goals, not one of them has come close to scoring yet. We've had 4 goals that we've scored in 2 games. 2 have come from defenders and 2 have come from midfielders. And I just think that's shows that yes, there is improvements needed in our front line, but my God, there's going to be goals from all over the pitch in this system. So Sarr had a couple of chances, Kallum. One a little bit before kind of he did score. And then he just arrived late after a, Kulusevski cross, a little bit of a deflection. But this is what this system is all about. It's all about those 8 coming in late and picking up what they need to pick up. And he was so calm. The ball bounced right in front of him. He's going to be an absolute boss, isn't he, this kid?
I think I said it a couple of weeks ago, but he really does remind me of a young Yaya Toure. Just the way that he plays in that role, just going back up and down, having that skill to actually take that. Because that was a striker's finish. That had something strong about it. I don't care if it was a late run into the box. I don't care if it was deflection or whatever, what people have been spouting, all that rubbish. It's just the whole skill that he had to do it. And to have confidence to do that at 20 years of age, that's unbelievable. How he's been used by Ange in pre-season and in these last 2 games as a sub in the first one and then as a starter in this one. He's outstanding. How he was neglected for the first year on loan, and then the year last year by Conte, just leaving him to rot in the reserves. Well, Spurs were kidding themselves. This kid is something special, and to actually have the confidence to take that many shots from a number 8 as well at his age, I can't speak highly enough of him, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. I said this a few times, Harry, about Sarr, and what people forget is that, and it's somewhere that we should probably target a bit more, to be honest, because Metz is where he came from. They have a big scouting pool out in Senegal. They also, he came from the same scouting system as Sadio Mane came from. And, people, let's not forget, he won Young African Player of the Year last year as well. But this guy, and Kallum has said it, instead of me, but he is like a young Yaya Toure, in my opinion. He is absolutely sensational. His ability to drive at the ball, some of the performances that we've seen before have been good from him, but nothing like what we're seeing from him now. Just his power, his pace. He's tall, he's strong, he's absolutely sensational at the moment. You're muted. Hold on.
Harry, you talking to yourself, mate?
I do. I enjoy that. Don't worry. But I've done a loop there. No, listen. With Sarr, this kid is special. We've got a player not only now but for the future. He has a bright future ahead of him, and he's done it again. He's the man for the big occasions. He was chucked in there last year away to Milan at a hostile San Siro. And him really stepped up. North London derby last season, the whole team was down and out. He stepped up, willing to take on the whole Arsenal team, willing to battle on the line. I agree with that. And a bit of Yaya Toure. So that is great to see. The way he took the shot yesterday, just the energy he brings, the vibes is fantastic. And I can admit I was one of the players thinking that a loan move would benefit him, but I've never questioned his ability. And this is one that Conte clearly got wrong. I'm sure we get onto it. Exactly the same with Basuma. And you've seen that. So credit to him, because that midfield has been improved by 2 players. Well, 3 players, but 2 of those players haven't had to be signed. Conte had them as options, but just didn't use them. He's special. He's going to be a one hell of a player for sure. He's a pleasure to watch once again. And honestly, when Benfica comes back, where does he fit in? Because we've got a winning combination at the moment, and every single one, Maddison, Basuma, and Sarr, they all look fantastic. So I love the competition for places. He's magical.
Yeah, that's a very good shout actually, because as of right now, Bentancur's got some work to do, because it's not a given that he walks straight back into this team. The fans will want him back in, but the manager has to see that this guy is gonna perform just like the others, and if Sarr continues, it could be brilliant for us. But I'm going to ask you boys quick one-word answer. Skip or Sarr, Harry?
Sarr.
Kallum?
Sarr.
Yeah, you're right. You're all right.
Hoiberg.
Anyway, do you know what? That actually gives me a good segue, because I felt like yesterday, and in my opinion, made questionable changes when we were only 1-0 up. I felt that the Son moving to central striker, and then Perisic coming on the left, followed by Ben Davies through Doji. And then obviously Højbjerg came on for Sarr. I believe Sarr gets man of the match if he plays 90 minutes. Basuma played well, but I don't think you can put it past the guy who scored the opening goal to break the deadlock. But he made some questionable changes, but those changes worked well. And the only reason I say questionable, Kallum, is because at that point we're only winning 1-0. And we need to score a second because knowing Spurs, we could concede. But then on comes old Ben Davies, and I don't even know if he gets a touch on the ball, but he shanks it, then Martinez shanks it, and then it goes into the back of the net.
It was a really weird combination of changes, to be honest, mate, because, yeah, Richarlison coming off and Son going up top, I could see that, and I can see Perisic coming on because he offers something else going forward. Doji looks like he started tiring, so that's why Davis came on. Sarr for Højbjerg was a weird one because if you think about the principle of what Ange has been saying, that there are a couple of players on in his faults as such, but they could still do a job. I would have thought Skip coming on would have done more than Højbjerg, to be honest. If you're going to make that sort of change, then you go for someone who's got more of a chance to do it. But yeah, the Ben Davies one was weird. Why was he so far up in the box in that position, to be honest? If you got Perisic, why have you got both of them in the same area? It made no sense to me because I would have rather Son be in that area, to be honest. So I don't even remember seeing Son in the box, really.
I suppose, Kallum, the only reason to have both Perisic and Ben Davies on that left-hand side was to protect. Maybe he felt vulnerable on that side, and both of them have defensive abilities. So he thought, well, we could double up. There's a chance that they can, do you know what I mean? That's the only way in my mind I could look at that.
Yeah, very much so, mate. But when you look at where we was actually defensively frail yesterday, even though Porro had a good game, he looks the more exposed one compared to like Udogie on that side. So I guess if Højbjerg came on there, maybe he was sitting out that way to do it. But as long as he don't do it like last week, then we're all right. But they worked. They worked on that occasion. But that there is weakness in our squad players to come on, I would still say. So
yeah. Højbjerg, Jazz Jones said Højbjerg came on instead of Skip. Are we not selling Højbjerg now, or was Skip injured? I didn't see that coming. The only thing, right, this is my 2 cents on it, the only reason I can see him bringing on Højbjerg is that when a team wants to purchase a player, seeing them actually doing their job and getting minutes actually makes them more sellable. Doesn't fit in this system, and as much as Harry, I know you like him. I don't think he offered anything when he came on yesterday either.
Yes, and just to add to that, I've been very clear with this. I love Højbjerg. Doesn't suit the system. If Atletico Madrid or any club offer 40 million add-ons or just 40 million, he can go fine. But anything less than that, I think for Højbjerg, no. I think they have every right to hold out. Love the comment. Hold out for 40 million. They have every right to hold out for 40 million for Højbjerg, in my opinion. He doesn't suit the system. No. He will suit Atletico Madrid system. But listen, what people in the chat have got to understand is Ange is new. He's only 6-7 weeks into the job. He's still trialing things. He's talked about and continues to do so, giving everyone chances. He's seen Skip against Brentford. Now it's time to see Højbjerg. In the next match, it'll probably be let's see Lo Celso and what he can do and who suits the system better. And from doing this, one thing I will say is that he's realised that Sarr probably suits this position better than Skip. So that is a successful trial. And people digging out Richarlison as well. It wasn't just him. Oh, well, big up Marlon.
Yeah, just to add on to this comment here, we won't be having any nonsense in this chat. So if you do fancy it, try it, and we'll just block you. So let's move on from that. No, I agree with you, Harry. I want to ask you again, H. Actually, there were two decisions for penalties, one at either end. I know.
Yeah.
United claimed that it was a penalty for a handball against Romero, but then Spurs fans are crying out for a penalty against Romero. So I want kind of brief answer on both of those. Mine, first of all, I think that either could have been given and either may not have been given. The problem with the handball is it's a bit like, do you ever remember United against PSG in the Champions League where I think that rule had just come in and Rashford thunderbolts the ball at someone's arm and they get a penalty and that's when they go on and win that game. I think that it was a similar penalty decision in the Women's World Cup final today.
There was. Yeah.
When the ball is blasted at Romero from, I don't know, 2 or 3 yards away, you can't be giving penalties. You just can't be. Because what do you, I'm sure someone stood there saying, well, what's he meant to do? Always stand with his arms behind him. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
The Romero on Martinez, I think it was, challenge on Romero. Again, if Romero touches that ball, it's 100% a penalty. I think just because neither party touched the ball, then that wasn't a penalty either. But what's your thoughts on it?
No, it's a really good question. The handball is one definitely, like you said, can be given either way. And that is one thing I think all us fans can agree on, come together on and agree on, is that the consistency is needed with the on-field officials, with VAR about these handball decisions and can't just stick to that's handball, but that's not handball. So fine, we say that's not handball. However, I think that personally we should have got a penalty. I think that's a foul on Romero, and this is not being biased because I was one of the only one on this panel, by the way, to say that I think that Brentford rightly had a penalty last weekend. I stick by that. I think this is very, very similar. You've got to give one, you've got to give both on either. Brentford got a penalty, but we didn't here. They're very similar tackles. Neither player gets to the ball first, and Martinez is late. Son's late. So for me, they're very similar tackles, but that just represents what's wrong with our game at the moment with inconsistency. I don't think United should have a penalty. Fernandes is whinging about it. Ten Hag's whinging about it. But, they're just crying that they've lost and they're struggling. It's what I love to see the tears. Listen, I love that we've won, but there's nothing better than seeing United tears. That's the best bit about it. I love it when we win London derbies. You see the tears. And it's so salty, and it is great to see. It really is.
What do you think about the Romero challenge itself when he was fouled?
The penalty? I think it's a penalty. 100% think it's a penalty. Like I said, with the Son being coming late and fouling, for me they're both penalties. But I don't think United should have had a penalty. I think that's too close. But it's one that can be given either way. But I partly understand it from United, but having just had the decision in their favour against Wolves, there you go. Which by the way, is the worst decision I've seen since VAR was invented or since I've been watching football. He's rugby tackled 2 individuals and possibly given them concussion. For the referee to go, I don't get it. But listen, you have VAR. I'll keep this brief. You have VAR to turn over clear and obvious errors by the on-field referee. That's the dictionary definition for VAR. If that is not clear and obvious, then the game's gone. I give up. Nana rugby tackles 2 players to the point where they could be in A&E later. I don't know what more is needed. So United should be complaining. Fernandes is whinges anyway. But listen, either of those decisions could be given either way. Definitely came to the right conclusion with the handball, I think, because it would have been harsh. I would have accepted it either way. I think Romero is unlucky not to have a penalty. But when he thinks it's soft, fair enough. If, like you said, Romero gets his foot there first, it's definitely a penalty. It's clumsy more than anything from Martinez.
Yeah, Kallum, what do you think on those 2 incidents? Because they were probably the most contentious, incidents that happened in the game.
Yeah.
There's always going to be scrutiny when we look at them in hindsight all the time. We're always going to be able to comment on it. And when I first saw the instant where Martinez took down Romero, I thought it was a penalty. But then once I've actually rewatched it, and I think it was said in the comments, obviously, if he had the ball at his feet and then Martinez brought him down, then Stonewall penalty. But because it was two players going for the ball, neither of them got it, and he kind of went down. It's kind of that principle where it's a contact sport. So do you give something for every bit of contact that's in there? And to be honest, the one with the handball as well, it's where Romero's literally lunging in to make a block. So can he literally lunge himself forward and have his arms down like this? He'll literally look like he's in a coffin or something like that. Does he want to look dead or something like that? So it's one of them, especially as how close it was. But yeah, I think if it was his other arm that had hit, then that could be classed as in blocking a goal scoring opportunities. But to be honest, VAR has been awful in the last 2 weekends. There's so many decisions. And I mean, we're going to get more apologies come out tomorrow and Tuesday, or are we just going to go with it and say that we won, United lost, United fans don't like it? There's a good chance they could probably turn us over at Old Trafford later on in the year. Bring it on. That's the way that you've got to go with it.
Yeah. Kallum, quick one. Do you think that the Romero foul from Martinez wasn't given because the referee hadn't given the first one?
So wrong.
It's so difficult, and it's one of the reasons why I like rugby and NFL, because all of their refs are mic'd up. And if you can hear what the refs are saying, then you get some sort of clarity on this stuff. But because we get no sort of transparency with what's being said between VAR and between the on-field referee, I honestly don't know what was going through their head. I mean, I don't know who the ref was yesterday. I mean,
Michael Oliver.
Well, to be fair, I mean, there's so many questionable decisions over his conduct each year. I mean, as soon as we start doing this, we'll start questioning every official. So I think that I don't think you can say that he didn't give it away because he didn't give the other one. I just think that if VAR doesn't pick it up, then you go with the on-field decision. Simple as that. I just don't think you can keep questioning it each week, because we're just that's going to be our whole podcast, I think, going forward, isn't it? What decision gets taken up, which decision don't. And we'll have so many different views on it where we'll be so inconsistent.
Sorry, Harry, go on.
Can I just quickly jump on that and just say that with VAR, it's there to turn over clear and obvious errors. I don't see the point in having it. We saw that with Man United and Wolves. And we've got this thing every week where John Moss, who's the head of blah, 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 has to go and apologise, for example, to Wolves. It doesn't change anything. Wolves right now, second from rock bottom, second from last. And that could be the difference between survival and relegation. I think it will. It could be. It is a massive chance that it really could be. Because Wolves deserved something out of that game. It's clear you can't get any more obvious than that. So we can't keep having these mistakes. And if there was no VAR, I wouldn't have a problem with that Wolves situation. Wolves fans obviously would, and rightly so. But I wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm going to continue to dig it out because you have VAR. Cheers, mate. VAR is there to turn over and clear and obvious errors. So what's the point in having it if it's not being used in the right way? And I hate this thing. The on-field referee hasn't given it. They're unlikely to overturn it. That shouldn't be even in contention with Man United and Wolves. It's a clear and obvious error. And it wouldn't surprise me if these referees had FPL teams as well. I've always thought that. And best mates.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to touch on Kallum really quickly because I really, really fucking hate talking about VAR because it's never going to go away. No matter what I say means it's not going to get changed. But the one thing I do want to say on it is something you spoke about, Kallum, because I'm going to go back to the incident. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the Women's World Cup final today, but basically there was a penalty for Spain. And, fair enough. The ball hits, I think it was Kira Walsh, hits her arm. And then the Spanish player continues to run with the ball, then pass it to somebody else, and then they have a shot on goal and it misses. and then it goes all the way back to VAR, who then decide that the initial handball was a penalty, even though it had no influence on what happened in the actual passage of play, meaning that they still managed to get a shot away. Would they have pulled it back for a penalty if they'd have scored? No, of course they wouldn't. So therefore, it's all nonsense, right? But then the reason why I'm talking about this incident in particular is because in the Women's World Cup, they've been having, the decision. The referee has a little mic on, and then she says, and the decision is penalty. And great, we can hear what they're saying. They've obviously got mics, and they all talk to each other. All they have to do is release the audio. All they have to do is allow us all to be able to hear what they're saying. And if they say, Romero's arm is out to the side, but what we think is that it's a natural position because he's lunging forward and so on and so forth, then do you know what? I will be a much, much happier person because we can hear what they say. The only reason that they're not releasing the audio or not being able to allow us to hear the audio has to be because something else is going on. And this is not a conspiracy about Spurs. It's not a conspiracy about any team because we all get some decisions and we all get other decisions. My issue is that why won't they allow us to hear what they say? And that's it, really.
It's the rise of the lizard people. They're all speaking lizard instead of normal stuff.
All speaking Dothraki.
Oh, don't, mate. They're probably speaking Klingon. I'm not going to lie. But no, you are right. It's the bollocks of it because what it's got is that calling off period that they're allowed to go back and review stuff. If you're going to do it there and then do it within a minute. Don't let 4 other sequences of play go on and then you pull it back for something else. It's just dragging stuff out and it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
And Harry's Wi-Fi's gone again.
Yeah, it did.
Just quickly then, Harry, I want to talk about that because you mentioned it at the start of the show. And you mentioned about the hate that Vicario has been having. And do you know what? Do you know what I wrote on my list? Because do you know what? I've started to become a professional podcast host after however many years I've had this show. I wrote Vicario immense and love saves for the cameras. There's a few times, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't understand why he does it. That he makes some audacious save of the ball when it's going over the crossbar. But I tell you what, he was absolutely sensational yesterday, and the things that he needed to deal with, he dealt with. Because on the Brentford game, Harry, they targeted him from the first minute.
Yeah. No, they did, and it's clever from Brentford because a new keeper coming to a new system, they saw his nerves early on. You could see their game plan, and to an extent, it worked, but he didn't make any mistakes. Yeah, good point. But with agreed, Harry talks to. Yeah, thank you, Barney. Very kind. So kind of. I thought generally he was good. I think he's been good since he's come in. He's been a scapegoat from day one. I don't think he's been making saves to the camera personally. I think they're sublime saves, and he's just making sure it goes over the bar. Safety first. I like that. I love it. And I love the Vicario haters can't be seen. I don't know why people are questioning him. Exactly spot on, by the way. I don't know why people are questioning Vicario. It's not Vicario's fault that we didn't sign David Raya. I wanted David Raya. I sulked for quite a while not getting David Raya. We're not going to take it out on our own goalkeeper in Vicario that I didn't get the goalkeeper that I wanted. Vicario is our goalkeeper. Get behind him. He's a young keeper. He's just come into the team. There shouldn't be people slagging him off. It's exactly the same for Richarlison. The only difference is Vicario's even newer. Vicario haters have disappeared. He was fantastic. Even Neville didn't like it. He had to point out his dramatic saves. It's just people being salty. It's great to see. He's fantastic, and I'm really happy for him.
Yeah. Just a quick one before we move on. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Make sure you're liking the video and make sure you're getting your comments in the comments section.
Let us know who your favourite host is as well. I want to know. Just saying.
Right. Anyway, Kallum, what do you think about Vicario's performance yesterday? Do you think it's a little bit, showman-like? And do you know what? I have nothing against it.
Really?
I mean, wow. I mean, he he made some really good saves, and I think he did a very good job. It might have been a bit of showmanship, but it don't matter. He saved us the game. He made about 3 or 4 saves, which there's a good chance if we'd have had, say, Fraser Forster in goal, it'd have probably gone in and all that. I'm not going to lie. He was very good yesterday. And I'm not saying he's going to be brilliant all season. I'm not saying that he's not going to make a howler next week. As goalkeepers, they're meant to keep you in the game as much as possible. And, as soon as they make a mistake, they're going to get drawn up on it completely. But, yeah, yesterday he didn't. His distribution was much better than Brentford. He looked more confident on the ball when playing it around his box. He didn't really have any wobbles. And, I mean, the 2 fingertip saves he did to push it over the top of the bar, they were amazing, to be honest, mate. I really was happy with how he did. And I'm like Harry, I didn't know who he was before he came here. I had to go and Google who he was. I had to take a line out of Danny Rose's book and go, who is this person? Do we know who he is? But I wanted Raya, but I'm not going to sit here and keep banging on about it. I'm going to say, Vicario's our keeper. We need to back him. He's our number 1, and we trust in Ange. So we've got to trust in Vicario as well. Simple as that, mate.
Definitely. And everyone wanted a more stats-based approach into terms of scouting. And then when we do that, they throw it all back in everyone's face.
You can't please some people.
I want to talk quickly about James Maddison, because do you know what? I'm going to sit here and say I wasn't probably the kindest in terms of my recommendations on James Maddison when it came to signing for the football club. But, I'm eating humble pie right now because I think I saw somebody else write in a comment, so let me know if it was you. But I never knew how good he was until I saw him in a Spurs shirt and in this Ange system, because, oh my God, the guy is absolutely sensational. Like, okay, there was a few free kicks, a few corners yesterday that, weren't the best, but just his ability on the ball, him and Yves Bissouma, the way they can just switch side to side, they can skip a man, they can make a pass that no one else can. I run out of superlatives for him. The only worry, for a lot of fans right now is the videos that have seen him coming off or out the stadium in a protective boot. I'm putting that down to just precaution. He played 90 minutes. I think it's just precaution. But Kallum, are you surprised with this Maddison that you're seeing? Or did you know you'd see it all along? Oh. Looks like he's dropped out for a minute. So I'll jump onto you, Harry.
Yeah, no worries. Listen, I've been wrong about a lot of things, but one thing and changed my opinion on lots of things. But one thing I've always stood by is my opinions on Maddison. He's probably my favourite Premier League player when he was at Leicester. I actually enjoyed it because I watched his journey from Norwich to Leicester to Tottenham, and he's a player that I've always enjoyed watching, always admired, and always wished that he was a Tottenham player. So he's finally come true, and I'm so glad. And I'm so glad that it's worked out for him. But listen, he's a magical player. He's great to see. And he can be
I love that man. Pieces. I love fresh air.
Oh. Well, that was exciting.
I don't even know what he was saying, but all I was going to say is that I love Maddison. I love this Maddison under Postecoglou. He's a really cute player. We got the number 10. However, what I will say to people saying that it's been ages since Eriksen since we got a number 10. Yes, but the managers we appointed didn't play with a number 10. It's not Levy ignoring the situation. It's the fact that we didn't play with a number 10. Oh, he's here again. Hello.
Hello.
I see you. No worries.
So what are your thoughts on Maddison then, Kallum? Because we didn't really hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Harry. I think he's amazing. He's such a great player. It's actually nice to have someone to come in and replace Eriksen after the last 2.5 years of not having any creative force. And to be honest, it's actually good to have a set piece specialist as well. actually
Oh,
having
yes.
someone who can get a free kick to go into the box and not into the wall. But yeah, I think that if he can keep doing what he's doing, I reckon he could be 10 assists, 10 goals this season. That's 10 things.
More than that.
That's bottom line, mate. Bottom line. I'm not putting high expectations. Just let him run his course and all that. And if he takes 10, then that's 10 goals that Kane would have scored and 10 assists he would have got. So that's one position that we've got. We get Richarlison like that, then we're happy days.
Yeah, definitely. Harry, you did touch on that. I think you got cut off a little bit, but you know, it is interesting that people have been calling out for this position, which we haven't been playing for some time.
Yeah, and we haven't had the manager that plays with that number 10. So that's why I don't think it's that Levy's waiting for Leicester to go down, waiting for this. Postecoglou is the first manager since Pochettino who plays in a number 10. And I'm not having it any other way. Maddison's magical. I'm so glad he's here. I like predictions. I'm going to predict. He's going to get 14 assists and 9 goals, similar to Kallum's on a level. I'd love to see him score 10 goals. I just don't know if he does in this system. But he gets bags of assists. So he's a magical player. But I'm not worried about goals because I still stick by what I said. I still think Richarlison is scoring at least 15 goals. I think some will chip in with half a dozen. And hopefully impacts of the likes of Kulusevski, Perisic, Solomon would chip in. Fullbacks, defenders, I expect to score from having a set-piece specialist in Maddison. It's just, again, down the other end that we've got to be careful, but we've got a clean sheet. We've improved the defence. The defensive issues are now being addressed. I like the way the club have dealt with the centre-back situation. Instead of everyone's idea of getting 3 centre-backs, you've got one with pure quality, and I'm completely fine with that. Now, what I want to do until the end of the window is get players out the door. Don't worry about bringing players in. We've got 39. That squad needs to be smaller. For me, you're looking at 6-7 players going out the door. And then if you have time, a Levy transfer deadline day special, then we shall see. I'm all for it. But I think we have to get rid of the players out the door first. But in terms of Maddison, he's just magical. So glad he's here. And so glad we got a number 10. Kane's left at the wrong time, really, because Maddison-Kane combination would have been nice to see. But we're a better team, I think, without Kane, because we're not focusing on one individual's ambitions. We're focusing on the team. There's no pressure. And we're focusing on the main man in Ange. So that's great. I'll come back to that, David.
Yeah, David Clark has said if Richarlison scores 15 goals, I will run down Tottenham High Road naked. David, let us know when that happens, and we'll be there.
I'm going to come back to that.
Anyway, Kallum, quickly on to you. I want to talk really briefly before we run into the last few things of the show about 2 players, 2 very different players, but 2 players that, you know, are really slowly coming into their own. First one is Yves Bissouma. You know, anyone calling Antonio Conte an elite manager and being able to make Bissouma a fraction of the player that he actually is deluded. The other one is Mickey van der Ven, who has had, I still think, a slow start for Spurs. I think there has been a few small errors there, but as you would expect from a new player in a new league with barely any time to get involved. But what are your thoughts on those 2?
How Conte shackled Bissouma, that's criminal. That is literally like putting a guy in jail and just putting him on day release when you just want to take him out for a little bit of game time and all that. It's ridiculous. He has dominated the last 2 games and he's got man of the match for it. Simple as that. It just looks so much more fluid when he's playing. He gets through the lines, he's dropping deep, he's going forward, he's covering where we need to be. And he just looks so much more confident than how he was. He looks like how he was at Brighton. He's just playing with freedom. He's playing to express himself. And the fact is the squad love him as well. Literally, when you see the little cameos of him online and all that, a little bit of dancing and all that stuff, he just seems like he feels like himself. So yeah, Bissouma, can't fault him. Van der Ven, yeah, I'd agree with you. He's had a slow start, mate. He's still 22, so he's got potential. I think he just needs to find his feet, because what we have to remember, he's only theoretically got 2 years of senior football, realistically, at top level. One in the Bundesliga, one in the Dutch league and all that. So we've got to give him time. And I think that he's going to be given time. He's not someone that you just write off from day 1 or day 2. He's got to get comfortable. But he does look good alongside Romero, to be honest, compared to like if we had a Longley or a Dyer or a Tanganga. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I completely agree with you. I think that, we have to be realistic about Van der Ven, and we have to be realistic in the sense of he is a young player. He's been brilliant. He has been brilliant. But we also have to realise that, there are small mistakes in there. He carried the ball too much yesterday. He twisted and turned himself into danger far too many times, and we did lose the ball a couple of times. But, he's only young, and I'm going to get young Wynnie's thoughts on this as he's decided to drop in and say hello. Wynnie!
How are we doing?
Hello, mate.
Hello.
All good, all good. Talk to me about those two, Bissouma and Van der Ven.
Absolutely. I mean, Bissouma, we're talking about a player now who people are going, oh, it's the Bissouma that we saw at Brighton. It's not. It's not. He's 4 times, 5 times, 6 times the player he was at Brighton. He just seems to have just completely elevated his game, and he looks like the player that we thought we was going to get and more, and also perfect for the system that we're in. Van der Ven, absolutely sound, no problems with him whatsoever. He's almost like people obviously talk about a Vertonghen regen. I think he's a bit of a mixture of Vertonghen and Alderweireld because he's got a bit of a ping on him as well. So he looks like I mean, Romero and Van der Ven, what I will say is looks like a partnership that we will comfortably see for probably the next, providing they don't get too big for us and want to move somewhere else, maybe for the next 6-7 years, something like that.
Wow, amazing. Harry, what's your thoughts on those two?
Listen, firstly with Bissouma, I think he's been magical. I can understand when he's coming from in the terms of he's better than the player he was at Brighton. However, the player that we signed from Brighton was a lot better than the player we saw in only a little bit last season. I still think it's a bargain that we signed him from Brighton. Obviously, he's improved his game. He's adapted to Postecoglou's system. And I'm also with Wynnie on Van der Ven. I don't know what he's done wrong. I think he's been fantastic in both games. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. I thought yesterday he was all right. Yeah, maybe carried the ball a little bit too much. But for second game, he's really impressed. Not many training sessions with the team. He's come in. And what I found really impressive is the amount of times United were caught offside yesterday. That partnership at the back, just between Romero and Van der Ven already working off each other like Toby and Jan did in less than 2 games. They got the high line spot on. That is, for me, is impressive. Like when he says, next 5, 6, 7, maybe more years, that is an elite partnership. And a partnership, if you want to be eventually winning trophies and winning titles, that is the defence you want.
Yeah. Spot on there, Harry. Lynch 616 said, "Can we talk fullbacks?" But we'll talk fullbacks next week because we're on to my least favourite part of the show, which is the FPL roundup. As
that's terrible.
And hasn't already joined our FPL league, then there's a tweet. I'll put it as the pin tweet. I haven't done it yet, but I'll do it in a minute. Join the league. And jump in. How many people we got now? I can't even see. But anyway, we've got quite a few people in our league. So quick roundup. The league leader at the moment is Brainy Paul with 123 points. In second place, currently, is Frankie Wynn. Good old Wynnie. 119 points.
Oh, really? Oh, geez. Okay, yeah. I'll take that.
Dave is in 4th place with 113 points. Harry Scarf, 6th place, 109 points.
Oh.
How many?
Kallum, because you joined us late, is on 21 points in 12th. And and I am in 10th with only 86 points. So a big 40
How many did you say I had? 90 something.
You've got 109 at the moment.
Oh, that's better than I thought. I messed it up this week, though.
Yeah.
Fun.
Everyone had a shocker this week. Anyone that picked Haaland as captain had a shocker.
I picked Haaland as captain, but Tielemans in the team. He didn't even get on the pitch. So that's frustrating.
I
had Son and I had Haaland, so yeah, I've really done crap on that.
I took a 4-point hit on João Pedro, and they won 4-1, and he didn't even score.
He's on the bench. Yeah,
he didn't come on till the 60th minute.
I saw that.
I know, yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. If you want to join in, join in the FPL group, then as I said in the Twitter feed, there's a link and a code and all the rest of it. So join in, have some fun. But my most favourite part of the show is now coming up, which is the score prediction table. But every week on this show, with our 5 hosts, we go through the score predictions for each game. You get 1 point for a correct result, 3 points for a correct score. And last week, these were the predictions. I predicted a 3-1 Spurs win. Harry predicted a 1-1 draw. Wynnie predicted a 2-1 Spurs loss. Kallum predicted a 3-1 Spurs loss. And Dave predicted a 2-0 Spurs loss. So,
negative.
And here comes my little arty time.
Oh, you're going to show it.
The league table at the moment. I am on 1 point for the correct result. Harry, Wynnie, Dave, and Kallum, the negative Nancy's, are all on 0. So that brings us into next week's game. So next week's game, we are away to Bournemouth. I will jump in with those who have not on the show yet. So Dave has decided he's going to change his tune and go for a 3-1 Spurs win.
Oh, no, he stole mine.
We're going to go 2 secs. Frankie, Wynnie. Oh, Frank, I hate calling you that. Wynnie.
It feels so weird.
I know, yeah. What are you going for?
I'm going for 2-1 Spurs.
2-1 Spurs.
Yep.
See how you're all changing your tune this week. Kallum, we'll come to you next.
I reckon 4-1 Spurs.
Oof.
Jesus Christ.
4-1 Spurs.
Bournemouth looked not great this weekend, to be honest. So I've kind of got...
Yeah, but they want their points, though. They want their first win against Tottenham.
Yeah, but I was at that game last year, and that was dross anyway. So, I mean, I want some payback.
Luke, can I just jump in and say, I could be wrong, but I seem to remember from last week, Johnny, I swear Johnny said 2-0 Tottenham.
No,
I don't know if he's in the league.
The guy knows nothing.
He claims he did anyway. I can't remember, actually.
He's in the league. He's in his own league. Leave him there.
Yeah. David Clark has said Bournemouth new striker looks very dangerous. My score is 4-1 Spurs. Jazz Jones has said 3-1 the mighty Tottenham. For those others of you that are in the chat, make sure you get your score predictions in. Harry, I've given you some time to think. What are you going for?
Am I allowed to go with the same score as somebody else, or should I go different to mix it up?
Harry, you can do whatever you like, but I will add a caveat to this game. Once you say it live on air, you're not allowed to change your mind, Mr. Spurs.
You can't do that.
5 minutes for a game.
I'm going to be bold. It's not going to happen, but I like it. 5-1 Tottenham.
Oof.
Just to be different.
What's that? Richarlison hat-trick?
Richarlison brace.
What? On his leg?
I'm going to go...
Oh, shush you.
I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs. So, the score predictions are in. Terry Jacob has said 3-2 Spurs. Barney has said Tottenham to beat Bournemouth 1-0. So we've got me with a 2-0 Spurs win. Harry with a 5-1 Spurs win. Wynnie with a 2-1 Spurs win. Kallum with a 4-1 Spurs win. And Dave with a 3-1 Spurs win. So 4 out of the 5 hosts of Spurs conceding. But every single host this week has decided to go for a Spurs win. Something must be going right at Tottenham. That kind of does wrap us up for the show this week. So we really do appreciate every single one of you in the comment section. There's been loads of you, so make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you're liking the video. If you're watching on the podcast platforms, come join us over here, but also leave us a 5-star review. And drop us a message on Twitter. Let us know, where you do listen from. You can find that at Park Lane Podcast or at Park Lane Pod on Twitter. Kallum, thanks again for coming on. How can everyone find you?
Pleasure as always, mate. So it's at Kallum Subs 97. Thank you for everyone that's followed me since I've joined the podcast. So seems to have at least maybe a little bit more popular somewhere. Not in real life, but hey ho. But no, mate, pleasure as always. And if I'm always available, then that's great.
Well, you gained 1 follower from today's show, so you got to be happy with that.
Yeah,
that means a lot to someone like Kallum.
But he followed Harry as well, so I mean,
And Harry, your show's back on a Monday night. How can everyone find you?
It is, thank you for having me once again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like Luke said, 5-star review if you're listening on any podcast platform, and a follow. Get involved in the comments. Your opinion's welcome here, and join the FPL League. I'd love to battle against some of you. It'd be great to see, because a lot of people in the chat are all this. So I'd like to see the action. So we'll see about that. But yeah, you can find me. Oh, Twitter handle's not there. Keep saying that. Harry Scarf 22. If you want to follow me, yeah, not always that popular, so I don't mind. But you can check out my channel as well, Scarfy Spurs Talk. Jay hosted my last show, which I couldn't make, so I'm back on hosting my own show this week, Monday, 8 p.m. I'm joined by 4 guests, one being a United fan, which I'm so glad that I've done. Great decision. That'll be interesting. A lot of tears, but no, he's a great guy. So I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being back here next week and hopefully sitting here with the prediction right. But we find out. I need to do better in FPL, that's for sure. But thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. Just to let everyone know, I'm on Holly's Hotspurs tomorrow at 7 p.m. So make sure you head over there and you can hear me talk about all the things that I've talked about tonight. But I'll actually get to say something for once. If you want to follow me, you can follow me, Luke_Park Lane. But more importantly, most of our listeners on podcasts come on Apple Podcasts. So, you can also leave reviews on there as well. Let us know what you think and all those different things. So really, really appreciate every single person that's tuned in. It's nice to see that we get more viewers from Spurs win. So let's keep this going and let's keep Big Andy's train fucking rolling, people. Anyway, I'll see you all next week, 7 p.m. Sunday night. Until next time, a big come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.